welcome, first of all, to today's webinar. I am Sara, I'm product manager. We have here today Adonis Askianakis, senior sales executive,
Hello.
and Christina Giannakopoulou from the support team. So we are always from LearnWorlds, of course. And we organize this webinar because, well, we want to help our clients going from good to great. And the idea is, well, about this webinar about how to win the hearts and budgets of B2B clients is because we want to help our school thrive. So if everything is probably going well for your business, you're probably interested in scaling your business. So today we're going to see few key points. We're going to start with why B2B clients are essential to scale your business. The second thing we're going to see is very, very important. So how to target actually B2B clients, and even more important, what do they expect from your school? So we'll see also like which LearnWorlds features will help you doing this. Towards the end, we're going to have also a very, very juicy offer. So, and it's going to be available only for attendees, only for you right here, right now. So please stick with us to find out more. And please let me just go through a couple of quick housekeeping questions before we deep dive into today's webinar. The first one is that the webinar is recorded and the recording will be made available to you on Monday, together with a couple of handouts. So I hope that this will be very, very useful for you. Also, we love to hear from you, so please do type your question in the Q&A box. Christina is helping it, manage it today, so, you know, go ahead with any question you may have. And we're going to take questions also at the end of the presentation in our Q&A session at the end. So I have actually a question for you today, right now, which is, have you been selling to B2B clients yet? Give a few minutes to answer. Well, actually, a few seconds.
Give us your answer, please.
Oh, I can see more and more people answering. All right. So, Adonis, can you see the results? We have a 60% of people that joined here today that have already been selling to B2B clients, and of course, a 40% who didn't manage to start selling to B2B clients yet. Would you like to comment on the results, and maybe we can start also the presentation and see how we can move on from here.
Super, thank you for the pass, Sarah. So that's quite interesting. 60% of you have already tried. You have your first attempts, successful and unsuccessful. Maybe that's super fine. Selling to B2B, that's very important. And I would like on my side to start talking a little bit about the B2B theory, the processes, and a couple of crucial stuff in order to help you. And let's start this a little bit from scratch, right? So let's start with the basics. So here we are. How do we define B2B? I think that's quite obvious. You all know that. So B2B stands for business to business, and actually describes a transaction between two businesses, as opposed to B2C, aka the transaction between a business and a customer. So I think that that makes you think a couple of basic differences directly. So when you have B2C, let's try to define this a little bit with an example. We have B2C where we want to sell a yoga class, and there's the simple example that you see here in the screen where someone is selling a yoga class using Instagram as a basic marketing channel. And of course, in order to reach a certain amount of revenues, you will need to have high volume of sales, usually with a lower price. I mean, that's not always the case. That depends on your product, how premium your product is, and stuff like that. But let's take for granted that this is the general rule. Although we also have the B2B case, the business to business transaction, where when the transaction is won, you actually do sell in bulk for a lot of different people. So we see here actually the first basic difference, where you have a low volume of transactions, although you're getting a higher amount of revenues. So let's try to go a little bit deeper and define a few crucial elements with regards to B2B and the B2B go-to-market plan, right? So first of all, we have the buyer's goal. You need to define your buyer's goal. Talking about B2B, there is a solution into a particular problem. So maybe you need to consider, while you have the experience selling B2C and a little bit of B2B, how you will be able to convert this product into a solution into a particular problem coming from a business, right? Motivation to choose a solution over another, right? This is very, very important. When we're talking about B2B, we need to consider that the product is actually becoming a little bit more complex. You have more human interaction. You are talking with more, we are actually talking with more people. You need to make clear that the problem is solved. And you need to add a couple of other factors, such as, for example, take into consideration what is the budget of the other side. Is your product promising results that are going to be measurable, and all of those beautiful stuff. Going more particular with regards to the human interaction. When you want to sell a B2B product, you will face a lot of different people while being into this process, right? You will face someone that is purchasing. You will have the guys that they're actually using the product. You will need to probably meet or take into consideration the boss of the person that you are trying to sell. So we're talking about a more complex process where we actually need to define all of those stuff on the first place. That is going to make our process more structured, and probably that's going to bring the results a little bit easier. Now talking here about the useful marketing collateral. You have a product which is education, right? You sell your knowledge, which by default is quite complex and very, very important. And as said before, we're talking about a little bit more complex process where a lot of people are involved. So you need to have the right material that are focusing and they are transferring the right message to the right people. Probably the decision maker wants to see the results, but the budget owner needs to do the calculations. So you need to help there. You need to help the decision maker talk to the other stakeholders and individuals. That's very, very important. So let's move a little bit deeper. You realize that it's a little bit more complex. It's one of my favorite words. I say that a lot of times, but would that be a problem? Not exactly. All of those things that you need to take into consideration probably are going to lead into a longer sales cycle, right? That's normal because you need to define all of those factors on the first place, design the product, convert the product into more like a B2B product in order to be able to serve the right businesses and solve a problem, right? But this maybe sounds a little bit, has a little bit of a negative pronouns, but let's discuss a little bit of the more positive side, right? So it's a longer sales cycle, but you will also have a more long-term solution, right? You will face people, you will build a connection with the people. People will trust you, will purchase your product, and of course, if everything is going well, which I'm sure it's going to be the case, you will build a relationship with them. So you will continue doing business with them. You will be providing value to them, and they will be giving you revenues back. That's very important. And of course, not to consider something which you already know, the average size of your deal is going to be bigger, right? It's a business. They want your product in order to solve a problem. And this product, educational product, is going to be consumed, if you accept the term, from a lot of different people. So one deal, as we discussed in the intro of this presentation, is going to have higher financial value. And of course, the more you build the relationship, maybe you become friends, you continue solving the problems, you will probably have repeated purchases, right? Maybe they suggest you to other friends, maybe they ask you to sell them for something similar, something more important, something a little bit different, or maybe your purchasers are growing and you probably grow with them. So it seems that it's very, very powerful and valuable to go on that way. At the end of the day, what you're going to track is a very high lifetime customer value. All of those factors will play, each of those factors are going to play a significant role. And at the end of the day, you're going to have all of those friendships, but you will be able to grow your business more effectively, faster, and with stronger sales, right? And of course, it takes more effort, but it totally worth it. So we have here an example. This is an existing LearnWorlds clients, Agile Surpass. That is a very nice example of them selling B2C and B2B. It is the world's leading agile marketing training, consulting, and coaching organization. The journey blends agile surplus coaching and consulting experience with world-class certifications from the International Consortium for Agile. So I have it here. I assume you're all able to see my screen, right? We can briefly have a look on that.
Yes, we can see.
Perfect. So this is a very nice looking website being developed with our amazing pages builder, right? Online agile marketing certification courses. I can scroll down and see the beautiful courses, right? You see the variation, very small pricing and a much higher pricing, of course, focusing on B2B sales, right? Now, let's continue. How to target and sell to B2B clients. I'm sure you had in the past a lot of successful, probably unsuccessful, and that's very fair, attempts in order to be able to sell to B2B clients. I'm sure that probably when you started and you had like your first attempts, they failed. And then you have second attempts with, and probably attempts and ways to try to go to market that you didn't give a lot of chances to succeed, and you unlocked the door. You managed to do the sale. So you know sometimes how tricky a B2B sale or a marketing effort can be. How you identify your potential clients. Guys, this is very important, and we will try to discuss that in depth. So what's your topic and your expertise, right? Of course, you know that you are already selling mostly B2C and B2B as well. But here it's a little bit different. You will probably start thinking of how a business is going to purchase your product selling already B2C or B2B as a solution, right? How does your topic fit into B2B context, right? So let's say that typical yoga example or the cybersecurity example that you see on my screen. You're selling B2C, it's a little bit more impulsive. You're sending traffic to your LearnWorlds website, they purchase a yoga class, but can you think of a business that maybe want to purchase in bulk yoga classes? Is there any problem that you think that you're able to solve on that? I'm thinking of an HR manager that probably wants to distress maybe a little bit their employees, and they're testing a lot of different ways. So imagine they have the need and you call them, or they see an ad on your side on how to do that. Maybe they will take this into consideration. Is there any specific industry, geography that is more suitable? You need to think about it. You know your product better than me, that's for sure. The only thing that you need to do is to start developing your mentality towards all of those B2B standard factors, a solution into a problem. And of course, as we discussed in the beginning of the conversation, who is going to be involved in the decision-making process? Of course, you need to take other assumptions doing that, of course, such as how big the company is, how they're looking for a solution. Do they even know that they have a problem? If yes, how they're searching for a solution, right? And that's very, very important. So let's talk also and discuss a little bit the example we have here on the screen. So we have cybersecurity courses, preparation for certifications, any sector, but only French-speaking countries. That depends on you. This is just an example. That depends on your target market that you already have in the B2C case. And of course, you need to define who is going to be the decision maker. Is it the IT director? Is it the HR, the procurement? Is it all of those guys together? Who should you find first, target first? That's very important, and you need to test. Now, guys, I know that I'm talking a lot in a theoretical way. We all know that. Don't over-focus on the theory. Of course, you need to take this into consideration. This is why we're doing this today, but go on the market and A/B test, right? So let's go a little bit deeper. The second thing that you need to take into consideration, identify their customer journey. So what you see here is a very nice visual representation of the average, let's say, B2B decision-making process. So first of all, we have the awareness. Do you know why we start with this? We start with this because there's no B2B product standing unless there's a problem. So we're talking about the awareness of the problem, right? And then they go a little bit deeper. They start taking this into consideration. They start searching on solution on solutions on how to solve the problem. Probably somehow there they find someone, they recognize that someone is going to solve their problem with a nice pricing, right? And here's where the conversion happens. They purchase the solution and they expect a lot. They expect a lot from you, right? What we have next, the repeated business. The clients are becoming loyal. They start talking to your friends. They want to purchase more for you. They want to suggest you to other companies and other executives in the same industry, and so on, so forth. So this is great, but how do I use this information? Let's go a little bit deeper. Obviously, you need to adapt your tactics, your strategies based on that. So, how you find people that they are in the awareness mode? You need to do lead generation, right? You need to go to the market and talk to them, find the right ways and talk to them. So they will come to you and they'll start thinking that you are saying something quite relevant, right? Maybe they haven't thought about it. Maybe it's the first time that they start thinking and realizing the problem. It's sometimes like moving from unconscious to conscious is something that happens a lot when we're taking a decision while we're working for a company, and they probably somehow land into your page. You need to make sure that you take the lead, take a name and then email probably. And then you need to start nurturing this. So it's not enough. I mean, it depends on what their stage exactly, but it's not enough just to take the lead. You need to continue talking to them. Now you got them somehow, like the first stage. They're thinking of it. So continue bombing with the right messaging, with information. Nurture those leads. Talk, give examples, do webinars, do calls, send newsletters, talk to them, give a lot of different ways, a lot of different arguments and ways that you're going to solve your problem. And of course, how? Be transparent and specific. Use case studies. Do a webinar like we're doing today, right? Maybe something similar. What do you think? Then the conversion is going to happen. You convince them. You are the solution for their problem. So they purchase your product. And of course, that's not enough. I mean, we need to celebrate. You need to celebrate. But actually, now we continue. Actually, it starts a part of the journey which is the most important one, right? Talk to them, develop your relationship with them, nurture them, but think about their clients now. You have the relationship. Ask them, how do they feel with the product? Maybe they want something more. Maybe you want to have a new business opportunity for them. Sell more services, sell more expensive services. Try to find ways to help them. This is all about B2B. You help them, you provide value, and they will give you uh, the value back financially, of course. Detailed pieces of information here for the skepticals. You can read them, of course, about blogging. SMB, that blog, see 168% more lead growth than the business don'ts. Content marketing, extremely important. Social media marketing, things that you already know, but check the stats. Stats coming from valuable resources, of course. Sarah can confirm that. Email marketing. For every one spent on email marketing, you can expect an average return of $42. That's average. It's not the best practice. You're going to go higher, right? We're talking about B2B. So let's go a little bit deeper, talking a little bit more practical now, right? The third pillar to consider, prepare your marketing and sales arsenal, starting always, as we discussed before, with the lead generation. Choose relevant digital marketing channels to your audience status: LinkedIn, PPC, remarketing, native advertising, affiliate, email, or even direct outbound sales. You can do a lot of different things. You know that. Test. There's not the best. You know your market a lot, but you need to test. You need to go deeper. You need to find a way to talk to them. It's not a problem if you fail, right? You recognize that. maybe the way you present your solution is not the best way to present it. They don't trust that you're going to solve their problem, or maybe they don't have time to listen to you, or maybe the communication channel you're using is not the best. Test. It's going to come. The success is going to come, right? Start creating content. Gated lead magnets and webinars lever to your target audience and product brochure. Create a standard product demo structure. You start going a little bit deeper. You're taking your leads, right? The most important. The conversion, as we said before, is going to come, right? That's very, very important. The conversion is going to come. And as I said before, it seems like the bottom of the funnel, but it's not, because then you need to take into consideration and start taking value out of the most important part of B2B sales, nurturing the clients and do repeat business as again. What do you think your B2B clients expect from you? For those you did attempts, you have successful B2B cases. I'm sure you listen to crazy stuff sometimes, right? Normal stuff, maybe big needs discussions. I'm sure you did that, right? So how to encourage repeated business? 4 elements here. Top-notch account management, so that the HR manager or anyone you're trying to sell to love working with you. That's important. You need to respond to their needs. Engaging and interactive content, so that the employees love using your content, right? You have a goal. You sell B2B, but the consumer is someone else. If these guys start complaining or they're feeling extremely bored, probably there's a problem. Don't forget that you are an educator, right? You have at least a piece of the responsibility for the consumption of your product. You have an educational product. You are a teacher. That's very important. Offer content variety, right? A lot of different things. Try, ask them, take their feedback, move on, but thinking that you have a relationship with them. Maybe you need to teach them to take feedback from the consumers of your educational product. They bring it to you back and you adapt. You are responsible of that. And proof of knowledge tools. So anything that has to do with the exams and certification, help the HR manager, or as I said again, the guy that you're selling to, and employees prove their knowledge and the ROI on the investment made, right? Let's go a little bit deeper on that, one by one. Nurture the relationship with your point of contact and their boss and all the other guys that they're involved, all the other individuals that they're involved into those process. Think about it on the first place. You are responsible of that. You need to be able to answer their questions, right? Give them feedback, give them reports. Of course, LearnWorlds is going to help you with that. You see also the note here. User progress reports. Maybe you already know, you've seen our newsletters, schedule reports, the amazing tagging system. We will see all of those things in a while. Course analytics, bulk user actions. So to manage all of your B2B clients, but each of those separately, right? They will need to see the reports. They will need to be able to communicate with their bosses. Going a little bit deeper to engaging content for end users, you see here. Make sure that the employees or the final guys, the guys that they're the end of the chain consuming your product, feel amazing. They need to feel the value. I mean, that depends into the origin of the product as well. Like some trainings inside companies are a little bit more mandatory. Others are a little bit more fun. But even if you're in the more mandatory, restricted type of courses, you are responsible to make them engaging. Imagine an average cybersecurity course is not that much engaging. The managers know that the employees are feeling a little bit bored doing that. But if you help them, if you find them a way, they will be happier and the final audience is going to be happy, right? You're responsible of that. You need to have ideas. Try to increase your video content and live sessions. PDFs are nice. Presentations are nice, can be amazing, but you are the educator. try to develop, I mean, it's hard sometimes to develop a two-directional a communication when you do this, but try as much as you want. Be there, talk to them, make nice videos explaining things, right? Do live classes. You're able to do live classes. You're able to do multiple sessions at the same time with LearnWorlds now, right? So their instructors, but you as well, are going to teach in a more interactive way. They exchange ideas. It's a imitation of the real-time training, but a good imitation, a very nice one. You have the opportunity to do that and do that. If you have only static content, try to adapt a little bit. That's interactive. They will love it. The final users will love it. They will consume it in an easier way. And that's success for you, right? Don't forget human interaction. It's a complex product with a lot of human interaction. The ideal case that is everyone is happy. You are going to be happy at the end of the day. That's very, very important. Something that I forgot to mention here, the mobile app is coming very, very soon, guys. That's going to be amazing. So they will be able to access the employees, the final audience is going to be able to access into the course in a much easier way. Proof of knowledge tools. Of course, you maybe already know that LearnWorlds can help you in this aspect quite well. A lot of different assignments, exams, certificates of completions. That's very important. They need to prove to themselves that they have the knowledge. The managers need to be secure. The bosses of the managers need to be secure. If all the chain is secure, you're going to be secure that you will maintain this deal. You will have this business and you will be able to expand this business. That's extremely important. Don't forget, as I said, I like to say that a lot of times, probably few of you guys met me in the past, and I say this time, this phrase a lot. You sell an educational product and you are responsible not only for selling that, but for the consumption of this, right? If they don't want to do tests, maybe you suggest. Why? Because on that way, they are getting the information that their product is good. They trust you more. I mean, think about it, right? It's extremely important. Offer content variety, quality, but also quantity. Quantity is going to bring you revenues back. Customize the content for your clients. Provide the option to expand your topic so you can let your clients see from the beginning how your school can cater for the company future needs. I can connect this a little bit with the first part, right? It's account management. So defining account management as communicating in a perfect way with them, it's always generating a feedback loop, right? You need to adapt and make something more, make it fancy, expand, think always of expanding and solving problems. Of course, we can help you with that. How? First of all, by recognizing what is important for the final users, right? You need to use the course insights. That's going to be amazing. Why? Because with the course insights, you will realize what is important, in which part of your educational product they spend the most of their time and they feel excited, right? Or maybe something is not that much understandable. You need to adapt. You need to teach the HR managers to understand that. You need to be part of the consumption process. That's very, very important. Summing up here, top-notch account management, communicating, right? It's all about building the relationship, engaging content for the end users, and communicate that this is engaging. They need to feel happy and secure, the entire chain, all the stakeholders. Be there, be in the process. You will fail partially, and that's fine, right? Always be prepared to adapt. Maybe selling on B2C, you don't have, I mean, you try and there are ways to do that, but in B2B, you are always able to take feedback. Of course, don't be afraid. Take the feedback and adapt. This is how you build a relationship. Offer the content variety and help them to understand the value of your educational product. Make it measurable. Make tests, assessments. Try to put your knowledge into the final audience mind.
Here now, I just wanted to actually make a quick recap because before we go into the Q&A section, to understand like exactly like what about B2B. So you should expect a longer sales cycle, but it's absolutely well worth the effort because of the projected higher lifetime customer value that a B2B client will provide you thanks to the repeated business. The second thing is that you need to make sure that you do have a very professional looking and content rich website when approaching B2B clients, because they want to be educated, and you need not just to be educated, but to educate the whole decision-making unit of the client. The other thing is relationships. While in the head of many people, or like in a stereotypical way, they think like, oh, B2B is only about companies. No, it's actually about people talking together much more than in B2C. So make sure that you're ready not just to sell, but to be a consultant to, it could be an HR department, a team leader, a small business owner. Be ready to talk, to chat about your business. And the last thing that, in my opinion, the most important one that you need to keep in mind is to wow the users, because while the decision maker, maybe the one who signs the moment you make the sale, you make the conversion, they're probably not the one using your product. So you need to make sure, in order to open up the funnel again and to have repeated business, to make sure that the users are wowed. So they are the key to your repeated business. This is my last word of advice, and I think
I have one more. I think no worries, Sarah. It's probably something that I probably should have gone a little bit more in depth mostly in the beginning of the presentation. I would also give you the advice to be quite careful when you define your funnel, guys. So make the steps quite clear. It's not a problem if you start with phone calls and try to make the typical stereotypical B2B cold calling and try to do sales, or if you try your ads, right? But try to have a standardized, well-structured funnel. While, I mean, sometimes the awareness with consideration is mixed in their mind, but on your side, you need to be quite clear. So what happens when a lead is going to your funnel? Landing your page, maybe because you send them a leaflet or you called them or they saw an ad, but then you need to be quite clear. And my advice is to try to cut down the steps. You don't need to have a lot. I mean, you know this from B2C as well, which maybe the detail there is even most important, but people sometimes are getting bored, right? That's extremely important. Be careful. If you have a big page saying call us, now you find us like call us, expect the phone calls, but don't have 20 different directions for them to go. If taking the lead for you is taking an email, then be careful on how to communicate and what you communicate with your newsletters. Don't have thousands of steps, and of course, try to close them. That was the thing that I think I forgot to mention. I think it's important as well.
Exactly, and I think actually we have
a lot of questions.
Yes, and actually I want to start with one that is the most relevant to what you were talking about before. Is there like any, let's call it quick and dirty tricks
Yes.
to catch like maybe some connection? Because of course this is all fantastic what we talked about, but it's for the long run. Is that something that we can implement, let's say, I don't know, in 2 weeks time, that we can
or
do
maybe
in
you want to know,
open up a little bit?
Yeah, something maybe you want to know more in detail. We tried, of course, our best, mostly Sarah, to talk a little bit about everything. But maybe if something missing, or if something was quite interesting for you, but you want to go a little bit deeper, we can do that for you. So please add your comments here in order to open this conversation. We would love to know how you feel after that.
We also, sorry to interrupt again, Adonis, we got a couple of questions about the offer. So it is valid from pro or trial in order to get an LC account. I'm sorry if I wasn't clear before. And it is valid for a monthly or a yearly account, but the discount will apply to the first 6 months. I hope that clarifies. So if you have already an LC account, this will not apply in that case, but I think we're all pros here. Let's see, more questions. We have, all right. And then we were talking about also customizations. So we have, for example, okay, different clients that want to have, for example, I'm paraphrasing a little bit here, that would like to have a course in marketing, but they are, if I'm understanding well, from different industries. But the core would be the same. How they can customize the course, they can keep the core the same, and maybe, I don't know, adding, again, I'm paraphrasing, adding maybe like some some case studies that are like more, you know, for the certain industry, and some others for, I don't know, for automotive, and another one for shipping. Is there a way to customize this? Adonis, I'm not sure if you can.
Sarah, please repeat the question for me. I was checking the Q&A. Maybe there's a very nice question, so I can, and I have a couple of just to
No worries, no worries.
to
I
cast
was
them open.
talking
Here's an
like
example. Yeah,
sometimes. So what happens very often with B2B is that the core content would be absolutely the same. So, for example, let's say agile marketing, like in the case that we
yeah,
presented before, but we want to adapt this course to, I don't know, different industries.
yeah.
So you want to
Of
have
course.
like different case studies or examples, or I don't know, maybe different flows applied depending on the country you're in. Uh, is there something that we can do so that we don't have to
Yes,
recreate the whole thing from
of course.
scratch?
Of course. So first of all, guys, you are able to clone the course, right? You have a second version of the course. Of course, this is not will give you the option to be able to have two versions of the PDFs inside and maybe add another logo in the PDF. So that's not going to be the case, but you have two versions of the course. Why you need that, right? Or maybe you can do it even with the same course, right? Actually, my answer, my approach, my workaround on that would be the tagging system. So imagine that even though you're not able to customize the course automatically, I mean, of course, if you rebuild that, you are able. But imagine you have a course catalog, and then just below in your homepage, another course catalog where you have a different background color, maybe a different intro, a different title and text, or even a logo inside there. Imagine Microsoft and Google. Microsoft branded, Microsoft looking courses, Google looking courses. And then you play with the tagging system. You tag either Microsoft or Google. So right people are going to see the most relevant content. So this is a quite interesting way actually to be able to adapt and kind of white label per client. Yes, that's a good option.
Sounds good. I'm reading through the questions as well. I think Christina is amazing and answered to everyone so quickly.
Yeah,
She
this is
didn't
what I
leave
was trying.
anything for us.
Yeah, this is what I was trying to do before, to find an answer, to find a question which is not answered.
Christina, you're too good. That's it. All right. Actually, um, yeah, I think we're good. We had some questions about pricing as well, which I think that probably for today's like general that thing around selling in B2B is a little more advanced. However, I've sent through a link about pricing. As a general advice, you can have a look at what your competitors are doing, but most importantly, you should have a look at the value you provide and the problem you solve for your client. So, and how much would it cost to your client if they didn't have your product? So that would be a good way of
Yes,
pricing for B2B, rather than trying to be the
and
cheaper
it will
or.
help also.
Go ahead.
Yeah, and it will also help to the sales process. Having your
Yeah.
product by default in a measurable way, it will help you in the sales process, guys. Value is measurable, right? If you're able to prove or help your the decision maker, the guy that you're selling to count, to measure the result that you're bringing them. So if the result is 50%, 10%, like 200, 300% higher than the price that they're going to pay you, I mean, it's a no-brainer. for them to purchase. So think about it. That's probably, again, we should have mentioned that in the beginning. It's extremely important, guys. So we're not talking about the impulsive here. Excuse me, again, impulsive sale here. If you prove and you let them count the value you give them back, man, it's always it's no brainer. It's a one-way option to purchase your product. Do it. And also, my final and last advice for tonight: think about alternative problems that your product is solving. Right?
Exactly. Yeah. So, for example, if you have a course in time management, uh, maybe you can look at how your way of advising for time management increases productivity, and therefore the amount of time you save without that doesn't go to waste, and therefore time is money. So at this point, you can actually estimate how much an employee gets paid per hour, how many hours they save, and create the value and start building it from there, and so on. But as I was saying before, this is such an interesting topic that I think we should have another webinar on it, like all on its own. So thank you for the idea. Absolutely. And
thank you very much, guys.
Thanks to everyone. In the handouts that you're going to receive, there will be the case study that we saw earlier on about Agile Sherpas. So you can take some ideas and see how they proceed as well. Have a look at their site, how they organize it, and so on. And also in the handouts, you will see a link from this page that goes to my email and to Tony's email. So if you really have some extra question, you can always reach us there or to the support team. We're always here, ready to help.
Please, guys, please. So
from Europe, have a good evening. If you're in the US, have a good rest of the day. If you're in Asia, I think have a good night.
It's already night, I think.
Yeah. So thanks everyone, and
thank you
have
very
an
much.
amazing weekend. This is for everyone. Perfect.
I'll pleasure, guys, having you here.
Bye bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks everyone. Thanks Aloni. Thanks Christina.